To which I say, somebody was saying this is going to affect all of us. This is my hometown. This was my supermarket.
Sure.
Top
that
supermarket.
footage, from inside the courtroom, the comments from the families, the victims.
Yeah.
Wow, it was intense.
Emotional.
But I mean, it doesn't get much clearer than that. I shot them because they're black. I mean,
That's because of what I read online.
And you can't distinguish his manifesto from, I don't know, some
No.
Republican Congress people and et cetera. It's, anyway. All right, let's bring our friend in. Here she is. Dana, we'll take a little justice wherever we can get it this week, right?
Absolutely. I didn't think I was going to cry the first 5 minutes of the show, but successfully I have. A little bit of justice there. I was thinking, and I know this is morbid and it'll never happen. I feel like the only way these people who are wearing these rifles on their chest in the Congress and that are like thoughts and prayers, put them in a building, lock them in a building with an active shooter. They don't know whether they're going to live or die. I know this is crazy to say, but I feel like it's the only way that they're going to take this seriously. They don't seem to care about the
January
children's
6th.
lives
January 6th, they were scared for their lives, and they voted.
multiple mass shootings.
Yeah.
Multiple mass shootings these kids have lived through. The Sandy Hook girl that went through it at Michigan, it's mind-blowing that they won't do anything about this. It infuriates me.
Dana, Steve Scalise still has shrapnel in his body, and he votes against gun safety legislation.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I can't. It infuriates me. It's one of those topics that I find no light in whatsoever and no jokes in. It's infuriating that these kids have lived through this twice, and they don't care to protect them.
Yeah. Representative Peters on this one more.
And, we did take a meaningful step. It was the most significant gun legislation in decades, but it was not a particularly large step, certainly not what I would have liked or most of us would have liked, but it was a step forward, and I like to think success breeds success. But I would hope as we continue to see these kinds of incidents that we can take those next steps.
Yeah. One last one. Gary Peters.
We need to have a national movement, I think, particularly when it comes to when you're looking at background checks, making sure that the folks don't get through. We think that this shooter here probably should have never had a weapon. He had a weapons violation, but how did he acquire that weapon? Was it one of the loopholes? We know there are gaping loopholes when it comes to buying weapons, even though there's background checks. We have to close those loopholes. And 85 to 90% of the American people think that is what we should do. And so we need to put it on the floor in the Senate. I think we want to keep being aggressive in getting it on the floor, getting folks to vote, and then hope voters hold those folks accountable who are not taking the kind of actions to save lives. We know these bills will save lives.
I mean, Dana, I keep saying it, but I feel like it's only the next generation that's going to save us. The more Maxwell Frosts or whoever we get in Congress that had to live through these mass shootings or shooter drills or whatever, hopefully we get the David Hoggs in Congress. I mean, I don't know,
Absolutely. And Gen Z is they are right now this base that is fueling the elections. Right. And Gen Z is the one tweeting, we're tired of this. We are the ones in danger. We're still the ones in the university. We're still the ones in higher education. I mean, that generation is still there. And the legislators that are doing nothing about it, they will run for office, meaning Gen Z will run for office. They will vote against this. They will empower their base. And I hope they kick a lot of these people out and make them one-term Congress people, because they've got to go. They have to go.
Yeah. Well, speaking of justice, we had Harry Litman on because it was a big day. Obviously, Mike Pence and Mark Meadows subpoenaed that Jack Smith clearly is in the endgame. What happens there, I don't know. But, Harry was saying that, Pence will probably succeed in delay, which is, the Trump 100%. Tactic now that they've learned, right, is to try and make some new ridiculous argument, but that's going to take time to move through the courts, right?
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure Mother didn't even give him permission to testify, so he's got to work over that hurdle as well. Yeah.
Well, he has to testify before a woman.
Yeah, but I think Mark Meadows, well, I guess he has a choice. I mean, he can tell the truth or he can go to jail. So I guess that's, we are in the sort of rubber hits the road, like time here where people are going to have to make decisions. We haven't known, right, what's happening. We speculated that Meadows has already been cooperating, but maybe not, right?
It's possible. I think one of the things that is good about this DOJ is there's not as many leaks. And so us not really knowing what's happening, hopefully that means things are locked down and that these cases won't be, the integrity of the cases won't be challenged. So who knows what's happening with that. But yeah, if I'm hoping that it's amazing how many people will go down for this guy. like literally ruin their lives and reputations to protect him. It's mind-blowing to me.
Here's one other, speaking of delay tactics, U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan slapped down Trump's offer to provide a DNA sample for the E. Jean Carroll rape case, saying it seemed likely to be a tactic to delay proceedings because it always is.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Judge Kaplan argued that Trump's DNA offer was essentially a quid pro quo deal where he would only give opposing counsel access to his DNA if Carroll would hand over a previously undisclosed appendix to a report Ms. Carroll obtained and provided to Trump years ago. Kaplan cited Trump's past history of employing needless delay tactics as a method to push back potential accountability as a reason to be skeptical of his offer. He has employed litigation tactics, the effect and probable purpose of which have been to delay Ms. Carroll's actions against him, which is significant in the view of the fact that Ms. Carroll is now 79 years old. There is no justification for such a deal. I mean, this is what, again, Harry Littman writes that Pence is trying to delay this. Then we're in the middle of a presidential race where maybe Trump's, God forbid, the front runner, Oh, excuse me. Was that
I'm spitting on that.
Did you do salt over each shoulder too, or is that I forget?
I was like,
Tui.
Yeah.
But again, what's the saying we keep saying over and over? Justice delayed is justice denied. But I just have to hope they are going to run out of time at some point with this.
I also believe that Fonnie Willis, I think you saw the little update.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Travis. Travis has a finger of justice.
It has just been released.
Oh, and
yes, it's been released.
I haven't had a chance to get into anything.
Yep. And there are hints, from what I understand from my co-host on the Daily Beans, Allison, saying that the judge has dropped hints, McBurney has dropped hints that Trump could be indicted. So there's little glimmers
I saw that.
There's little glimmers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll have this out, and they're saying that the full one's not going to be released, especially unredacted, because it could jeopardize future defendants' rights
Plural.
to a fair trial.
Yes.
So plural. I think justice is coming. I really do. I think in this case, I think Fonnie Willis she's gonna be the one.
Yeah, she's gonna be take the maiden legal voyage, as Glenn Kirshner says, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, end game in terms of, because obviously people are saying the feeling is Trump's a target, so we're at the end in terms of that with the Pence and the Meadows subpoenas, right? So, but I don't know what end game means. Days, weeks, months, still,
Yeah, I don't think any of us do. I just pray that it happens. I mean, I hope it happens within this year. I mean, he can still be indicted if he's running. There's nothing that protects him for that.
Yeah.
And apparently you can actually run for office even if you have been indicted. Ask many Republicans. So who knows what that means, but hopefully he'll be in prison long before that happens.
We're all feeling a little deflated about Matt Gaetz not being charged with sex trafficking. I'm like, really? There's a Venmo and he asked for a pardon for it. But I guess, as Harry was saying, the problem is witnesses. Joel Greenberg would not be considered a reliable witness. Perhaps the teenager, unfortunately. But sorry, I'm just going to jump ahead and say, he's guilty, allegedly.
Allegedly. Yep. No one's getting sued, but we know he did it. Maybe. Yeah.
Yes.